I must admit, my first impression of this field watch was very positive. It has that unapologetic, very purposeful field watch look and feel, and this watch is attractive not just from practical perspective, but also from military aesthetics point of view, paying a true tribute to military timepieces of the past. And as I discovered, this watch ticks a lot of boxes. However, as I also discovered, some boxes were left with question marks. So, what are those questions and can we answer them? Well, we have it here, so let's see what's going on. Hello and welcome back. This is another watch from my AliExpress haul video that I did about a week ago, and I'm slowly but surely working my way through those reviews of all those 6 watches that I introduced in that video. And by the way, more just arrived, so I recommend you hit that subscribe button and notification bell to make sure you don't miss all those upcoming reviews. Now, this is my second Militado on the channel, and the first one was received, I must say, somewhat surprisingly quite well. So definitely admiring my professional videography prowess, or at least that's what I would like to believe. Militado asked me if I would be interested in reviewing another of their creation, and so this watch is now here, and I even get to keep it. In return, the usual drill, I agreed to present a comprehensive review of this timepiece, and of course all the necessary product links will be in the description of this video. So what can be said about the design? Well, it looks like Militado is trying to find their design footing, so to speak. They are very actively experimenting with military-style watches, including vintage military. And that's exactly how they position this particular timepiece here as part of their classic retro vintage collection. And it definitely looks the part with a box crystal, sun-blasted stainless steel case and drilled lugs. And while Militado does have a few clamages in its catalog, as far as I can see, this watch is not clamaging anything in particular, and basically just carries in its design the DNA of military timepieces of the past, the same as any other vintage-inspired military watches from any other brand on the market. So no, it doesn't look super original by any stretch of imagination, and yet by combining vintage and military design elements, we have a look that can stand on its own, which I think deserves an acknowledgement. But it's not just about the looks, we of course have a level of practicality here too. However, I still have questions, and we'll get to them shortly. So we have case diameter as advertised 36mm, case height is 10mm, lug-to-lug distance of 43.7mm and lug width of 18mm, maintaining that perfect 1:2 lug width to case width ratio. And on the supply strap we have a full weight of just 43 grams. So from the dimension point of view, this Militado fits the bill perfectly. It will suit pretty much any wrist size, and it is also very slim and therefore will sit well on NATO or Zulu style straps, and of course on Bund strap as well. And Bund straps are perfect in case if you want to give this watch a bit more presence on the wrist while still maintaining the vintage aesthetics. And while we're discussing dimensions and specifications of this watch, we might as well examine the movement. We have Seiko Quartz VH31 smooth running second-hand caliber here, so we get an accuracy and dependability of quartz combined with a high bit rate of 14,400 vibrations per hour. From a practical perspective and taking into account the price point of this watch, this is close to an ideal design solution for such a field military style, giving us kind of set and forget functionality. Okay, I really like the slim stainless steel case, however, here is also lies my first question mark. Taking one step at a time, we have a sun-blasted 316L full stainless steel construction case here. The case is slim, and to fully appreciate how actually slim Militado managed to make it, we should also note that nearly 3mm of this case height is taken by this boxed crystal. The drill lugs are nicely sculpted and shaped for a good wrist comfort. Looking at the back of the case, and the utilitarian military approach continues here too. We have almost flat, sterile screw back case with sandblasted finish like the rest of the case. Now, looking at the crown, and while we have no crown guards here, the crown is noticeably recessed into the flank of the case, and therefore we'll have some additional protection from sideways impact. Now, Militado quite interestingly declared 100 meters of water resistance on this watch, which is of course very much welcome on this style military field timepiece. However, we only have a push-pull crown here. Now, having a push-pull crown on a watch with 100 meters of water resistance is actually nothing out of ordinary. Like, for example, Hamilton Khaki field watch also has 100 meters of water resistance and also features a push-pull crown. However, my guess is that it will require some additional gasket or O-ring or something to that effect around the crown's term to achieve that level of water tightness, which most likely will be reflected in the price too. In short, this is my first question mark, and I will come back to it when we discuss the verdict. Zooming in on a dial, and we have a very familiar vintage military design with 24-hour markers. All elements are printed, the minute chaptering and Arabic numerals, our indices are printed in white, while the triangular hour markers are printed with vintage patina color lume. We have similar color lume applied on the second hand and on the syringe style hands, all this done against dark black background for maximum legibility. And as for the lume performance, well, it is kind of okay. Lume application is clean and consistent, however, it is unlikely to win any lume awards. To be fair to Militado, I've seen very few field military style watches with great lume, and most of them were in the much higher price category. Okay, crystal. This is another key feature of this watch, and yes, it is another question mark. It is a good-looking, boxed and ever so slightly domed crystal. The anti-reflective coating is quite effective, and the distortions it produces at the acute viewing angles do complement the vintage aesthetics of this watch very nicely. However, if you watched my AliExpress haul video, you probably already know that we have here a K1 scratch-resistant mineral crystal, which in theory is better than a simple mineral glass, and yet it doesn't match the scratch resistance of Sapphire. This is by far not the first watch that I reviewed that compromised on the usage of Sapphire in favor of a nice vintage box shape, as well as keeping the price in check. Some of those watches now offer Sapphire crystal as an option, so it would be interesting if Militado will consider something similar in the future. Now, as for the strap, we have a nice color-matching nylon native style strap. I also like that the hardware on the strap has a similar sandblasted finish to the case, which is also nice. Now, to be perfectly pedantic, it looks like the keepers and the buckle are a shade of grey darker than the case, however, the difference is almost negligible, so it's not much of a problem. And with the black and white kind of neutral color dial, this watch is a bit of a strap monster, and as you can see, I had a bit of fun putting it on my 18mm leather bootstrap too. Okay, so the price, and this is my third and actually final question mark. Militado priced this ML07 model at $55, which seems like a fair amount. However, they also offer other very similar models like this ML05 priced at $45. Yes, $10 cheaper. And by the way, ML05, while obviously doesn't have much of originality in the design department, still features a screw-down crown and sapphire crystal. So that raises a bit of a question. So to summarize, we are not talking about great sums of money here when we're looking at the differences between those Militado models, and of course it's great that we have options. And the way I see those question areas that I covered earlier, they kind of offer us a compromise to experience a classic design military timepiece with some of that vintage charm that is not a clamage. This Militado offers that in spades and for a very affordable price at that. What are your thoughts? Well, do let us know in the comments. Of course, don't forget to like this video if you find it useful, and of course don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next one.